You know the old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression? That phrase is incredibly true in our business. In entertainment, your first impression can mean everything. It can mean the difference of booking a job or not booking a job, having an audition or not having an audition. That first impression can get you in the door and make things happen. And for an actor, that first impression is the headshot. First and foremost, casting directors, producers, they're going to see your headshot and they're going to make decisions about whether or not you get seen based on that one image. So it's incredibly important to make that image an investment in your future. And to do that, you want to find the right photographer, someone who's going to work with you to craft the perfect image, the perfect first impression. And I suggest you check out portraitsbypeggy.com. Peggy's been doing photography since the 80s, and she really knows her stuff. And she wants to work with you to craft the perfect captured image, the one that captures the uniqueness of you and helps you book the job. She wants to work with you. She wants to really get into who you are, what sort of jobs you're trying to book, and help you get the perfect image. So check out portraitsbypeggy.com and book your portfolio session today. Welcome to the 190th episode of the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson, and I'd like to thank you for joining us once again on this show. I've been doing it now for over 3 years, and I just want to take a moment and talk about how much this show has kind of changed the course of my career and my life. When I started the show, it was about trying to get back into the film industry, trying to get myself out of corporate America and back into creativity. And the show was my way of finding an avenue in to talk to people that I probably wouldn't have had an opportunity to talk to before. And as the show has grown and evolved, and I've had various people join me as co-hosts on the show's taken on a couple different tacks. It was a kind of like morning talk show comedy hour for a while, and now it's getting back to being a bit more introspective a little bit, much less of the comedy bits and much more of the kind of let's learn about you. And it's a lot of fun, whatever format the show's taking at any given time. I just thoroughly enjoy it. I like talking to people. And for the next few episodes, we're going to be talking to theater folks, and I'm really excited about that. I don't know if you know, but I kind of started out in entertainment in theater. I was a theater major at Baylor and studied technical theater and minored in acting. And I have a great affinity for theater. My father started taking me to plays at the Old Globe Theater here in San Diego as early as the 6th grade. And it really kind of shaped a lot of my desires to move into this wacky, crazy world that we occupy, that is the entertainment industry. And it's just going to be a lot of fun for the next few episodes to be chatting with theater folk. We're doing all this as part of our run-up to the San Diego Fringe Festival, the International Fringe Fest. And if you've never been to the Fringe Festival, you should absolutely check it out. It's sdfringe.org. And it's an international play program that brings in hour-long shows. So some of them are local, some of them are international, and they're all going to be presented over the course of time here in San Diego. But you can get all the details on Fringe at sdfringe.org. I highly suggest you go. It's a fantastic program. You'll see a lot of very eclectic programming. Everything from musicals to dramas to comedies to kind of like spoken word type programs. It's just great. And we're going to highlight some people that we know who are participating in this year's Fringe Fest. And we're going to start this off with Jennie Olson 6 and Kevin Olson 6, who are a powerhouse couple, actors and writers and producers. And we talk a bit with them about their history, their influences and their production that they are bringing to this year's Fringe Fest. So be sure to check it out. You can get tickets to any of the festival programming that we discuss on this show over the next few weeks at sdfringe.org/tickets. And now let's get on with the 190th episode of the Intellectual Podcast with Jennie and Kevin Olson 6.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The Intellectual Podcast starts now.
Oh yeah, when you do a garage sale, I did remember doing one, and somebody showed up at 6 o'clock and said, "Do you have tools? I'm looking for tools." And then his partner, "Okay, what do you want?" He's like, I collect udon china."
It's very specific.
And it's udon was occupied Japan. And they only made this kind of china for so many years, and that's what he collects. I'm like, okay, you're a serious collector.
All right.
The other guy collected garden tools, which is weird.
Yeah, oddly enough, we had tons of women's clothes, like really nice clothes. We sold a bunch of like kids' toys.
I know.
It's always something.
We've done fundraisers almost every year for B-Day.
Vagina model.
Jennie, can you pull that
A little
right
closer.
to the table there?
All right. House.
We can use our theater voice.
But yeah, people, it's supposed to start at 7 o'clock. We show up at like 5 o'clock. There are people sometimes there at 5:30. And we're like, are you kidding?
Because we advertise it too.
Because we advertise it starting at 7. They'll show up at 5:30 while we're setting up.
Yeah. Before I left Charlottesville, because I lived in Charlottesville, Virginia, and my husband and I sold a bunch of stuff because we didn't want to have to haul it across the country. I think I had 8 a.m. was the start time, and there was some older ladies that got there 30 minutes before. Are you ready? I'm like, no.
Still 8 a.m.
Definitely not.
Yeah, we were in bed, and I had a girlfriend, this was 20 years ago, and she lived in this really hard to find place. So we put signs out almost a mile away, and these people found us. But it was Mission Hills, so people are looking for specific stuff in Mission Hills.
Well, should we introduce you guys? All right, so we have Jennie Olson 6 and Kevin 6 here to talk about their Fringe show and whatever else comes to mind today.
We've been Facebook friends for a very long time.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
We have. And I've listened to some of your podcasts as I'm driving down the 5 freeway. So it's nice to finally.
The most common place people listen to the shows in the car.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's nice to meet you guys in person.
Yeah, nice to see the
Finally.
physical person to go with the Facebook profile photo.
Yes.
So you guys are doing Fringe this year. So
Yes.
wanna
Yes.
Just start with that. We'll go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are an organization called New Play Cafe. Our third person, Liz Silverman, couldn't be here today. And we've been producing short theater pieces in cafes around San Diego for about 4 years. Our first venture was at the Big Kitchen in Golden Hill. And we did a couple of different instances there. And then
When you say short, are they like skits or are they one acts?
No, they're like 10-minute
10-minute
plays,
plays.
short plays.
They've got to have a beginning, middle, and an end. They've got to have character arcs, and they've got to be good.
God bless you for that.
But they've got to be short,
Yeah.
One of my beefs with a lot of the short films is they don't have full stories.
Yes.
It's like a joke or it's like a gimmick. That's not really a play or a film. That's a joke or a gimmick or a skit.
Yeah. No, they're not sketches. So, we've been really fortunate that we've had a really great talent pool to pull from. And we've worked with a lot of different playwrights in San Diego. And some people who had never written a play before and some people who have been writing for years. With this instance, our Fringe show, it was a very kind of, hey, guess what? You're in Fringe kind of a experience. We've known Kevin for a few years, and we talked about doing Fringe years ago, and this just happened to be given us this opportunity. Panera Bread basically donated their space. So this was an opportunity for us to come in and do this. So we were able to reach out to people that we've worked with in some capacity or know their work. So we had a pool to pull from. And so we are doing shows at Panera Bread. The theme is Out to Lunch. That's the name of the show.
Nice.
So which it's up to interpretation about, what that means to each playwright. What we do is we give the opportunity for the playwrights to have a little teeny bit of a workshop experience where they write something, we have a table read with actors, they're given feedback, and then they have the opportunity to rewrite. And then we move forward with that product into a rehearsal process. And they're invited to come to the rehearsals. We tend to not like to change things in the rehearsal process unless absolutely necessary. If it becomes really blatant that this is just not working, this needs to change, we have to fix this, then yes. But we really like to give it a minute to breathe with some actors, see if it can get on its feet, and then give it an audience. So
one of the nice things with this project that we haven't done with our other projects is we picked the playwrights first so that they could help us choose the actors. And we all got together for sort of a date night, and we had coffee and we talked about what we do and what Fringe is going to be about. And then the playwrights were already thinking about the actors and what kind of characters they wanted to put into their plays. So that was a fun night.
What got you guys involved in writing, or did you start out as writers, or how did you get involved in theater in the first place? What's that story?
Well, the theater in first place story. I was a dorky kid in the 70s and loved the Three Stooges and Bugs Bunny, and so my parents didn't know what to do with me because we were a baseball family. So they found junior theater, so I became sort of a jaded theater kid.
didn't they send you to SCPA too?
And I went, and through that they were starting this new performing arts high school. It's like Fame. So I went to the School of Creative and Performing Arts, and so I've been in that side of it for a long time. Jenny's newer to it than
yeah. I was introduced to the theater as a child, but I was in a very, very small town, and I just thought that you just did that stuff when you were in high school, and that was the end of that until I moved to California, and my eyes got open to all of the different possibilities of living a creative life. So I went back to school. I went to UCSD, got my bachelor's in theater there, and I've been doing it ever since. The writing came actually second. I've always kind of written, but I didn't really consider myself really a writer until I actually went to a school and studied writing a little bit. So, and then after school, I went to CSU Summer Arts. They have incredible programs. You can go and study with Steppenwolf. You can go and study improv. You can study filmmaking. You can study dance. And they had this workshop. It was called Playwrights Cornucopia, and Jose Rivera was there. And this was just when the Motorcycle Diaries were about to come out. And so he came, and Stephen Metcalf came, Alice Twan. I'm trying to remember, there was like 6, Luis Alfaro was there as well. It's been a while ago, so I'm trying to access the memory banks. They're fading me. But the playwrights came, and you spent about 2 days with them, and they would take you through 8 hours of writing exercises. So it was an amazing experience, and actually a play that I later got workshopped at New Village Arts through Playwrights Project here in San Diego. that started there. So it was just a writing exercise.
Did you find that the different writers had different styles in the way they attacked the writing? Or?
Absolutely. It's hard to remember exactly which writing exercises came from. Stephen Metcalf, who he's here in San Diego. He did some classes at Mololelo a few years ago. So I've taken classes with him. At that point, he was very much screenwriting. Like that was kind of his sort of focus of bringing that experience into the process. But there were some writing, like it was just like very creative, very fantastical, very theatrical writing exercises. So they were all different. And some were very use of visual to stimulate the creative juices. Some were use your own experience or a feeling or an emotion. So they were all very different. And so it was great. It was the greatest experience I've had in a writing workshop. So
yeah, I think that's cool because everybody approaches their art in a different way. And I think too often students are given one way of doing something and kind of they get real rigid and like, this is the way it's done.
Yeah.
I find that with a lot of students that I work with after they get out of school is they're very rigid about what they think the way things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I think it's wonderful to have an educational experience that exposes you to multiple disciplines.
Yeah.
I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
What have you guys found your writing techniques to be? Do you have a certain way of beginning?
I wrote my first play to just have a play to be in. And it came very quickly and was very easy to write, and then had to, chip away at it and rewrite some of the stuff too. So with me, it's just a matter of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting until the play is ready to come out. I'm a surfer, so a lot of the stuff happens while I'm between sets, as they say. And I'll remember saying to myself, I've got to remember that because the surf is too good to go in and write it now. So, and it's an interesting process because if it is good enough, it will make it back home, or in some instances, it'll wake you up in the middle of the night, or you'll wonder why you're not sleeping.
I get hit with all my ideas when I'm driving.
Isn't that terrible?
And you're stuck.
Of course, now you've got Siri, so you could theoretically
have a little
dictate
tape
to her.
recorder. Have a waterproof tape recorder. I've seen those in the showers.
Oh, yeah.
Bumper sticker
yeah.
says, Muse is my co-pilot.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to keep the surfing just surfing, but it, like if you can, there are things you can buy. You can listen to music while you're surfing, and I don't want to do that. It's like so natural and so, but it really is a place for me where I was able to calm the busy mind and stop thinking about the things that you're afraid of and the things that bother you and work and all that stuff. So that's nice because then the creative stuff can seep through. And so that's how it's worked with me. And then with short plays, it's every time I get an announcement, oh, there's a short play festival or there's a short play contest, I would go, oh, I'm not going to enter that. And then before I close my email, I'd write a 10-minute play and submit it. Sometimes yes and sometimes no.
I wouldn't be able to clear my head out surfing because I'd be worried and fearful of sharks.
They're all out there right now.
Jennie won't let me surf.
I said, what was it? Somebody, I saw the broadcast from the Dana Point Police Department that were making their casual announcement to the paddleboarders that were out and casually saying, we need you to immediately come out of the water as calmly as you can because you are surrounded by 15 great white sharks right now.
Whoa.
Yeah. And our family has had personal experience with a great white. My
brother-in-law.
Well, yeah, my brother-in-law. He was fishing up there in Northern California area, Pismo Beach, and
I grew up in Santa Maria.
Okay.
You know.
So you're real familiar, like that kind of.
Pismo and Avila. And
yeah, and there's the kelp
areas.
beds,
Yep.
right? So he's out
Kayak
fishing in a
yeah.
kayak, and he's probably 280, and then fully loaded kayak. And his brother-in-law is watching him. This is Christmas Eve. He's watching him from afar go flying through the air and sees the shark. It was about a 20-footer, and it hit him. It went for the kayak.
Right.
And he said, when I landed in the water, I knew immediately what had happened, and I just swam for my life and got on top of the kayak because it had been flipped over.
Did it do a breaching attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they do
Yeah.
it. They
Yeah.
stay below the water and
Yeah.
come up at you.
And it was like his poor brother-in-law was like, I mean, watching
So
the whole
traumatized.
thing, just traumatized. But how lucky are you that was your great white attack? I mean, the kayak was done, but you lived to tell about it.
My
Could have
goodness.
been a
Yeah.
lot worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the shark usually takes one taste and decides they don't want to eat you. But of course,
Yeah.
That's-
that attack
Yeah.
is,
When the
is
mouth
enough.
is, the
Yeah.
size of a car door.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
One taste is all it takes.
So
Yeah.
Dana Point, you said that's pretty far south for great whites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our shores here quite a bit the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've
and
been
we've got
here.
a salad bar going on in La Jolla. There's those sharks that are, or those seals. It's a rookery, and
Yeah.
so who knows what's going on. I've got a little seal that comes and watches me surf when I go out. I like to think it's the same one. I call him Carlisle.
It's like one of 5,000.
I mean, there's none of the seals go on the inside. The inside's where the waves are breaking or have broken, and he's always there, like just chilling.
Probably the same one.
Probably the same one.
He's got his thing.
Could be.
And we've got dolphins, and dolphins don't like great whites, and great whites don't like dolphins.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if you see,
see a dolphin,
dolphins,
you're
you're
usually
good.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you're just got a bunch of seals around you that you might want
Yeah,
to get
15
out
great
of
whites,
that
100 miles
area.
north, and a salad bar of seals 20 miles south. That's not. I'll wait.
Yeah. I was like, just please, no, not right now. Just
I used to surf when I was younger, bodyboard and everything.
Yeah.
I have a hard time convincing myself to go out in the ocean anymore.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not in a sailboat, I just don't want to be out there anymore.
Yeah.
So Kevin, your technique for finding stories is to chill out and surf.
Yeah.
What's your technique?
so, because I had that experience of all these different writing exercises, I'll use something like that, or it can just be that I thought something has popped into my head, and I usually won't start writing something unless I know what the end is, so I know where I'm going. But very different forms of inspiration. Sometimes it's somebody says something really ridiculous and I will write it down and I'll be like, who would say that? And that's how that begins. Or we just went on this meditation retreat weekend where, it was intense. It was probably one of the more intense things that I've done. And towards the end, my mind's going all sorts of places. And so I was writing in my head, sitting there. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be no thought. No. Okay. Focus on your breath. And then blah, 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 something comes in. So it's very different. I have written, in college, we did interview-based plays. So we interviewed a bunch of people, and that one in particular was on their experiences with fast food. And that was a collaborative writing experience. And I've done some of that kind of collaborative creation of theater. But I've also just sat down and wrote my own stuff. And right now I'm writing a screenplay, but I have chosen to really outline it before I start it. It just is, that's how this is happening. But if I'm writing a play, that's not how that happens. It's just different. It's just different.
You seem to be fairly organic in your approach, like whatever works to a particular piece of material.
Yeah.
You did say you like knowing the ending first. Do you find yourself writing from the back to the front? Or do you just try to figure out the ending and then fill the sandwich in the middle?
Yeah, it's like if I know where I'm going, I'm I am concerned with how I get there. So if I know where I'm going, I know how I want it to end. Everything has to kind of build to that place. Right. And plays are a little different, I think, in some aspects because it's a different medium, and things don't always translate like in a visual, like say film. Like it just, there's just different things that you can do theatrically that it's not going to translate film wise, and vice versa.
Right.
So,
well, let me ask you this: do you ever have the ending in sight? You start writing, and your characters do something that they're not supposed to, and the ending's different.
Sometimes, but not. But usually, like I have to decide what story it is that I want to tell. It's not about. Why would that character even be in there if they're going to do like what is their journey? I'm really concerned with like the journey of things versus like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it when a character kind of takes over, though.
Yeah, it sounds like she's got her characters on a leash.
She's got them on a leash, man.
Or that this is the snapshot of their life in this moment. Not necessarily where they're going to be after this play or screenplay ends. And usually you have to have some sort of a journey. Like it's not that they're like the journey is that they start here and then they end up here. So it's not that they start off.
For those of you listening, she's pointing to her left at the start.
I know.
Right at the end.
I know.
Call that good podcast.
Linear.
It sounds like your technique sounds very George R.R. Martin. He said that he already knew the ending of the series, and that's why it's taken him so long to write the books, is he has to figure out how everybody gets to that
interesting.
point.
That's
And
interesting.
how many people he already knows that they're dead when he starts writing them.
Yeah, I don't know if he said that. But
I'm going to make you love them.
I think he knows which ones are going to make it to the end anyway. Who knows what happens to some of the other guys? But
one little girl with a sword is going to end up.
Because he had this whole big thing about like the Myronese knot and how to get certain characters to Marine. I don't know if you've ever.
We haven't even got there yet, have we?
Gotten that far. Like we're still on season 4.
Don't tell us anything.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if this comes up in the season so much as it comes up in the book.
Oh, it's in the book.
Yeah.
We would have to ask. We have dear friends that read all the books, and then they're like, "Oh, you have to start watching this." And
I started watching because of my friends who were reading the books who started watching the show.
Yeah.
And I hesitated on watching the show just to irk them a little bit.
Yes.
You're that guy.
I am that guy.
Yeah.
And then I binged everything in like a weekend and then really drove them nuts the next time they talked to me. I'm like, yeah, no, I've seen it.
I've seen it all. I love it.
They're like, well, wasn't it awesome? Yeah,
We have that guy in our life named Brian Francis. And if you're listening, David did the same thing you've done. And he finally watched the show. Watch the show, Brian.
Come on, Brian.
Brian, we
Watch
all
the
know
show.
now that you're that guy. We're just going to shame you. We don't know you. We're just going to shame you.
I think he'll enjoy having
the
the
super public shaming.
Podcast shaming. It's a new thing. You have to listen to my podcast. We talked about you.
Binge shaming it's interesting too because back in the day you had to wait till Thursday came around and you find out what
If
happens.
you missed it, you just missed it.
And you had to wait till reruns, and then you're on vacation. Oh my heavens! Now I didn't have a TV for a number of years in the 90s, so I'm kind of binging on a lot of 90s era TV. Which
Twin Peaks is back on Netflix.
Yeah, I binged the heck out of that because somebody was a huge
I
fan.
cannot wait.
21st, I'm so excited.
Okay,
I cannot wait.
I have not made it through the first episode yet.
Of the new round or
Of the old
stuff?
one. Of the old stuff.
So
It's weird.
Okay, have you watched any David Lynch films at all?
Yeah, Mulholland Drive.
Okay.
Probably the least
Blue Velvet?
edgy of them all.
Yeah.
seen Blue
Yeah.
Blue
Mulholland
Velvet.
is probably
it's-
the least
it's
the
edgy
most
of the
Hollywood.
David Lynch.
Like that's I don't. The thing.
You saw Dune, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Dune. Yeah, and then there's Wild at Heart and what was the? Hang on. There's Blue Velvet.
Blue
Yeah,
Velvet
that's
is my favorite.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say I did not watch Twin Peaks when it was on television when it came out the first time. And like the late 90s, I had friends that had recorded it on VHS tape.
Wow.
And
back in the day, kids, we had to record things on analog
It was this
tape.
thing called tape. And tape, it wasn't really sticky.
Got stuck in the stuff.
But it did get stuck, yes. And it would break.
And trying to make your VCR record at the appropriate time.
That was difficult.
Programming VCR was really
Pausing it was difficult. Yeah.
So anyway, what I'd say is, hadn't watched it. It was given a tape.
There was nothing like Twin Peaks on TV when it came out. Nothing at all.
Nothing. And the thing is,
even today, it's still really unique.
When we binged it recently, it was like, holy crap.
well, he kept saying, this is so weird. This is so weird. And I'm like, just wait. Like episode, I think it's episode 4 or 5. I'm like, now you're in a Fellini movie. Here you go. Like it's just, and there's nothing that, like, there's no real comparison of him anywhere. You're just not going to find it, and you're not going to, it's, nobody can copy that. It's just, it's just such you're going to go on a journey, and you're going to go into a world. And that's what I love about his work is.
I'm really, really curious for the return.
Yeah.
And to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
We've got a friend who was in it, so we know it's done, but he can't say anything.
He can't,
Ernie Hudson was in it too. But he was like, all I know is the stuff I recorded. Like, they didn't show me anything else. He's like, I came in and shot what I needed to shoot, and then I left. He's like, I have no idea.
They didn't make him sign anything?
Context of my part or anything.
Yeah.
He's like,
they didn't make him sign anything?
oh, he signed. He was able to say when he was in it, but he says even without that,
that's about it.
I couldn't tell you.
Still couldn't tell you what
anything
the story
about
is.
the story
Yeah, because it's just a piece.
My part.
Just a
He
puzzle
says that
piece.
my part's a small part, and I didn't know. They didn't tell me anything beyond it.
I know who our friend replaced in this story, just because
We have 2 friends in it. I'm talking about somebody else.
Wait, we know so many people in this show now. Wow. I'm so excited. I'm even more excited now. I just
We're gonna have to talk later because
Yeah,
it'll be a fun ride drive
notes.
home.
yeah. So no, do I know? I think I do.
Yeah, you know.
I do know. Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing is you find out certain things, and people have to be very vague about their Facebook posts, but then you kind of put 2 and 2 together and go, oh.
So you guys seem very excited about film and television. Is this the first screenplay that you've written, or is this like you guys have always been
I've written
film TV folks?
And
We tried unsuccessfully to co-write something.
it's a great idea. We're not going to tell you what it is because eventually
it's one of those. So I've actually written a bunch of spec scripts that sit on my hard drive right now. And then I have written a pilot for a half-hour, not really, well, kind of sort of sitcom-y, but not really, more kind of in the vein of like
it's like MASH, but in a restaurant.
Yeah. That's, in a really weird
You
way.
should call it mashed potatoes.
Yeah. No. So this is why
One laugh.
I was resisting.
That's why I laughed, because like I think it was all in our brains at the same time. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah, he is. Totally is. So but this screenplay, like film, like I've never written like a full length play. I've actually written a couple of those, but not a full length screenplay. I haven't even written, like I've written television spec scripts and a television pilot, but not a screenplay, like a full. So
And man, it's gonna be a tough business to get into, film and television. I mean, the best writing I think going is in television now.
Television has upped their game significantly, but I think that is indicative of the industry itself, because they've got too much competition. You've got Netflix developing, you've got Amazon, you've got Hulu, and
D-level TV folks are getting multi-series deals at Netflix and Hulu, and
even Xbox and PlayStation Like
they're providing content.
Well, and YouTube platforms, you think about Felicia Day, how she started out with her web series and then that took off. So people have a lot of ideas, and we're in an age right now where the technology allows them to get their content to the people they want.
And the generation that's starting to come up behind them, YouTube's where they watch all their stuff.
Really? Well, we've got
80% of their viewing probably is on YouTube.
Jenny's got a web series, and we produce it, and it's got more views on Facebook than on YouTube. So we got to get those millennial. Well, of course.
Well, that's the demographic target for that is a little.
What is your web series? We want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure.
Yay! I get the best role.
My web series is called Complex Girls, and it's based here in San Diego. It's
a ripoff of.
No, it's not. It's basically trashy women who live in an apartment turned condominium complex in El Cajon, California. So,
which is not unlike our life. We lived in a condo.
This is partially inspired by true events.
So the president of the condo association, not a fun, happy, good, nice character.
No. So we have a variety of characters in this series, and two of which my friend and I play are, how should we say this? We're former groupies that
Band-Aids.
Oh, yes.
Groupie Hall of Fame is a thing.
Groupie Hall of Fame is a thing. I have a son who has a father.
He's in one of the
bands
from the 80s.
We don't know who he is. So are you getting kind of the drift of this? One of my best friend, my BFF, Honey Walker is her name. She may be servicing in the name of the Lord at this moment. So, I mean, it's really like we go there. It's been a lot of fun. But there's also some really interesting characters, like the one that Kevin plays. I
have the best character.
Tweaker woman. So
sometimes I shave, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, pretty much.
But basically, I just put on one of Jenny's dresses and talk nonsense for 15 minutes, and then I'm done.
So it started off. We wanted to try improving these episodes, and then that was really evident that wasn't going to work. So I needed to write them out, and so we've shot 8 of them, and there's about 3 more that I'd like to shoot and then see what happens. But we have had probably our biggest, the last episode before this one, there was over 2,000 views on Facebook, and it's called Complex Girls.
Complex Girls.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
They're complex, not really.
Not really.
They just live in a complex.
They just live in a complex. So there's, So weird, random, unintelligent, but
the interesting thing was
caring somewhat.
Sounds like the sort of stuff that really goes well online though.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, we put it together because Jenny's got this pet project that's close to her heart that she wants to do as a web series, and I'm like, hey, let's do this stupid thing about stupid people in a complex and use that as a way to learn the game. Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot of women actors who are just brilliant and funny and don't get enough exposure. And you could, because of this premise, we could use all of them. There's still every time we meet an actor, it's like, oh, you could be the stupid real estate agent that wants to sell the condo.
We have people all the time that they're like, how do I get in this? And it's like, I have to have the time to like write it and then schedule all of the people that are in it and then film it. And it takes a lot, as you know, like if you're kind of it just takes a lot. So
David's like, yes, I know this.
Yeah. So
if you like to sleep, it's difficult.
You saw how haphazardly I ran into this building to get set up for this.
Yeah.
It was a very fast setup, though.
It was a very fast setup. Yeah.
Well done.
So we've had a lot of fun. I've pulled a lot of improvisers from Finest City Improv to be in this, and They've been fantastic to work with.
And we know that, if it's more successful than the pet project, the heart, then because it's so.
Well, no. Well, a friend of mine and I wrote a 13-episode web series called Marrying Age. And we were like, how are we going to fundraise for this if we don't have anything else out there? Right. So that was how this really came about. And it's fun. This has been fun to do. I mean, who gets to choreograph a really terrible striptease in a children's playground? I do. Okay. I do. So that's this kind of show.
It's the little things that we enjoy.
So yeah.
It's PG. Don't worry. She's too drunk to get her clothes off. So she
pretty
just
much
falls down on her face.
Yeah. There's this
suddenly far less interested.
Yeah. It's human debauchery at its very worst. It's a train wreck the first 5 episodes, and then we meet some other people that actually live in the complex. So it's very fun. I like to think of it as a microcosm of America. That's really
You guys have a lot of projects in the works. So web series, screenplay, plays. Are there anything else that we should tell the audience? Projects and things that they need to check out, go see?
Well, we want to.
Well, we actually we're also company members for Intermission Productions, which is a female-owned theater company in residence at Diversionary Theater, and we do have a production opening at the end of this month. This is called Gideon's Knot.
Gideon's Knot. It's
a two-person play.
All the plays that they do make you think and feel a lot. So this is a thinky feely play.
This is a terrible promo for the show. This is a terrible promo for the show.
Not unlike Complex Girls, which you don't.
Yeah,
think or feel.
it's like you couldn't get like two further apart genres.
But a lot of the same personnel, which is interesting.
This is a play that is dealing with a child suicide. It is dealing with the aftermath of that with a parent and
the education
teacher
system.
And the education system. So it's a really heavy play. Mm-hmm. It's also a very timely play to be coming out right now. So part of my job, because I'm not in it, part of my job as a company member is that I am facilitating a talk back with a group of educators and psychologists to talk about some of the issues that come up in this play. So we are doing that on Sunday, May 27th?
3rd or 7th? 27th?
27th.
We brought all the stuff about our show.
Yeah, we were talking about
it. 27th.
Thank you. It's a matinee.
You've got that in your mind? He's not looking at anything,
Well, my
ladies and
birthday's the
gentlemen.
18th.
Oh, okay. So you know.
Happy early birthday. May birthday.
My sister's birthday is the 25th.
So you know.
It's easy to do.
Yeah. My mother's is May 30th. Yeah.
My mother's is always Cinco de Mayo, so everybody likes to get out and celebrate.
Just for your mom.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is
And
so
then-
we're busy. We're busy
And
people, and we have another play that we're supposed to be in, but I can't say
We
anything
can't talk
about
about that.
because nothing's been confirmed yet on that.
And
I
we've
love
both.
how often that comes up on the show. Oh, I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
a thing.
yeah.
Well, the funniest thing is we have a friend who does the auditions for Scripps Ranch Theater, and she's like, "So Jenny's auditioning on the same day you are," and I didn't know. And I said, "What part did she submit for?" And she's told me, she's like, "Jenny didn't tell you this?" I'm like, "No," and we're up for the same part, which I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
And we're doing
It could
monologues from the same play.
Neutral part.
Yeah.
It's
could
a
be male or
producer.
female.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
theatrical producer.
I don't think we've gone up for the same role.
So this is going to be fun.
I know. Whoever gets that,
Who auditions first? You or me?
I don't know.
Because I've got to, got to talk to the director. It's like, look, I'm the better.
Oh, rivalries.
Now you know how our house really is. This is the sad
And the
truth
cat
of
loves
this
me
relationship.
the best.
Really?
No,
Does he
okay.
love you the
You
best?
guys meet.
In a play.
Yeah, so long ago, our friend Christina, who
Who was writing the web series.
We co-wrote this web series that I'd like to get funding for. She founded this, it was Aspire Playwrights Project, and there wasn't anything in town for anybody.
Short Play Festival.
No, not
that
the
was
Short
the
Play
collective.
Festival.
Yeah.
No. So we met. He was in her play. I was also in her play. We did a staged reading of that. And that was how we met. So we were friends for a number of years.
And Jennie asked me to be in her play.
Yes. And then I was in...
That took place at the Hole, which used to be the 19th Hole. And it was a bar.
Yeah.
And then...
I was dating somebody else. So we were all in...
And then I put Jennie in my play. And by the time that play opened, we were living together.
No, that's not how that happened.
In the Hollywood retelling.
Yeah. And in Kevin's mind, this is the story of our life, but that's not how that happened at all. This is us.
This is what my parents sounded like.
Yeah, we've got
tell the story. My dad would go, no.
That's partially our poor Lizzie, our production partner. She's just grabbing her pearls 90% of the time when we're having meetings.
She will be like, okay, that's it, stop, and put her arms in between the two of us because we're arguing about something
Ridiculous
she's
too.
Poor Liz.
When it comes to the important stuff, we're pretty close to agreement. But when it comes to the stupid stuff. Like what part I get to play.
Or, should we have this kind of snack
what
for
kind of
craft
snack?
services or that? No. And then it's just an argument about nothing.
Yeah, never go to Costco with us.
Yeah. Don't.
I have to drive the cart.
But no.
She will kill a person.
Easy to do in Costco.
Oh my gosh, people are so dumb. And the carts are huge. Like you could kill a person.
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly a small child.
Certainly a small child.
There have been people that have almost died in Costco while we were there because they just...
You have to jump in front of the cart to
No, there's people like pushing the cart in
Not
one
looking.
direction and they're looking in another direction. And you're like, please don't kill me with your cart full of heavy things that you'll never have to... You'll
There's
never
a
have to have
screenplay in the
mayonnaise
works.
again. That tub of mayonnaise. Are you feeding an army? No, that's just for home use. Oh, great. That's
We should film something, stealth film of found
footage.
Found footage.
Footage at
in
Costco.
Costco. Just do it with GoPro strapped to every conceivable.
Who done it? Like a pallet of something falls and somebody crushes them.
Yeah. That happens.
Who pushed it over?
It has happened. It's happened at Costco, I think.
Well, I'm sure it's happening.
Yeah.
There's actually a film crew stuck in IKEA as we speak. They can't get out. That would be found film.
Yeah.
That would be found footage.
Somebody already did that. Somebody already caught them. So
Somebody's
IKEA's
already
onto
dead.
it. IKEA's like, no, you're not going to do that again. No, somebody filmed a series in IKEA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then they found out. And then that was over.
Did you see the film that was released online? It was like I think it was a full feature length movie. It was all shot at Disneyland.
Oh, Disneyland hated that.
Yeah, it was family. It was like a horror film.
I love it.
Oh, I love
Disneyland.
I love it.
Wow.
But it was completely like
Completely
done on the
handheld,
sly,
yeah.
Sneaky,
It's like the
sneaky.
Blair Witch
So
Project,
smart.
only Disney. Yeah. Oh, it's already been done. Costco. Now somebody out there in podcast land
Pretty
is
much
probably
gave that
at
idea
Costco.
away.
Yeah.
Shucks.
To our 20 listeners.
Oh.
We have more listeners.
We've got 20 friends. We'll
You
promote
did
this.
not know I was listening to this in my car.
I
So
had no
there
idea.
you go.
21.
There you go. 21.
So we were both in Christina's play. I was in Jennie's play. Jennie was in my play. And then we quit writing for each other.
Again, these are the stories made up in his mind. No, what it usually is, oh, you've written something? Is there a part for me in it? Could I play that? That's how it really goes.
And then
There's
the
truth.
best story is when she handed me a short play and I'm like, I don't see me. And she's like, keep reading. And the character was a monkey that runs in and tears up the script. He literally tears up the script as they're doing it.
No, that was a play that I wrote, a short play called The Writer. And it was, there was a man in a monkey suit that was going around like ripping up the play. And I was like, there you go. That's your part.
I read the play. She's like, what did you think? I'm like, I'm the monkey, aren't I?
Yeah. So,
but with New Play Cafe, we have rules. You can't, you can produce, you can write, you can direct, you can act, but you can't do more than two things.
Because, and the reason for this rule came out is in our first production at the Big Kitchen, what ended up happening is I was in one of the plays, I was producing, and at a certain point, I was actually helping wait tables because there was not enough staff to dispense with the food. And I was like, I am crazy. Please stop this because I can't breathe.
She actually said it. She is crazy.
Yeah, you got that. You got that recorded.
You got it recorded and broadcast.
Now, just say I'm a control freak and we're good.
He navigated you into that.
Completely.
Really deftly.
Completely.
And I'm a dead man.
Yeah.
Dead monkey.
Dead monkey.
He's a
Dead
patient.
Monkey is the name of my play. I haven't written my play yet.
No,
Because I'm so lazy, we have one of the plays will be written during every performance. So I'm the short order playwright. I'm going to sit there with a funny hat on and write a play while the other stuff's going on. And at the very end, we're going to hand scripts to the actors and they'll do it cold. But Jenny's like, no, you still have to write a 5-minute play.
Yeah, no, I'm
Dead
kind
monkey.
I'm kind of the task because I've taken on directing for this particular
Directing and producing,
production.
but not acting and not waiting tables.
No, and I'm not
So
waiting
you're only
tables.
allowed two.
Yeah.
And
Two
I'm,
hats.
and I'm writing and producing. So
Well, it's one of those things. If you're only a 3-person operation, you're not going to get out of producing. Like that's
Everybody produces,
you're in it, and so that means you're doing the box office, you're doing the promotion, you're doing the marketing, you're doing costuming, and whatever needs to be done to make it happen.
And Lizzie's
So-
brilliant. So she designed our website and she did our logo and she's going to do the postcard and
Yeah. So it's fun. That is one of the fun thing about being able to do a Fringe show is that you can do something that you normally might not do anywhere else. And so we had this concept of the short order playwright. So it's much like an improv show in which I'll be getting suggestions from the audience of a type of person and a location and, something else. So I'll get 3 suggestions and then you have to write it.
if she's mad at me that day, they're going to be the really difficult ones.
Yes. So
I have a feeling they might just default to that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to. But it's exciting because I am a lazy writer, so I do need that kind of stuff.
I'm a deadline writer.
Yeah.
If I don't have a deadline, I will take 20 years to write something.
Yeah.
I know that from experience.
Oh, I'm writing a musical for 24 years.
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I've been writing a serial killer story for about 17 years now.
Yeah. It's about a serial killer who kills several people over 17 years. And then he writes it in jail.
Autobiographical.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The podcast of the damned. You're never going to hear from us again.
People are going to jail.
And you
after
write
this.
it, and you write it once they catch you. You write it from jail, right?
No. It's about a serial killer that kills at highway rest stops.
That happened in California.
Yeah.
That happened all throughout the country.
I had the impulse while I was driving trucks, doing concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I left the concert business. I had this beautiful vision of like killing people and
Making money off of
Again,
it.
autobiographical.
I've got to go like become a filmmaker and like make this. And 17 years later, I'm still visualizing all those murders, but can't quite figure out how to tie it all together.
That's so interesting. That's why we did Complex Girls, because we had to get ourselves into and this was low stakes and fun, and it was going to be improv, so it wasn't going to be that difficult. Now, of course, it's turned out to be much more difficult, but we got it done.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
my
think
recommendation is to.
Well, I have actually started like physically writing.
Oh, good.
Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
And I got
there's.
the first 20 pages written in the last year.
See, that's
better.
a big leap. I think though sometimes ideas have to percolate. I think that you need some time with things because I know that like there's been some times I've like, oh, this is a great idea. And then I write it down and then I sit on it and then I'm like, oh, no, that's not, no. And
the way I view it is like, it's the right idea. It's a story I desperately want to tell, but I've been having to grow into the filmmaker that's capable of telling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only recently that I felt like I've gotten to the point where like I'm at a point where I can actually do it service. So.
Yeah, that's the story that I am constantly reminded of. Thank God for DVDs, because in the old days you'd hear the commentary, and The Unforgiven. I was reading the commentary for that, and Clint Eastwood got that script when he was like 45.
Right.
And he wanted to do the part, but he had to be 55 or 60.
Wait.
And he waited 10 years, and he just would take the script down and make notes, and he would think about it. And, you know, he's a very good filmmaker. Mm-hmm. So by the time that thing came out, it just sort of, you know, and I quit watching Westerns for a long time after watching that film, because it was like the quintessential Western. So
you're saying Clint Eastwood killed the Western for you?
Yeah. And then he became the mayor of Carmel, and everything went downhill from there.
Is he really a mayor?
He was the mayor of Carmel. Yeah. He just said, he'll hold my beer. You know, it's like somebody said, well, you know, the mayor's, I could do that job, you know, and he did.
Anyway.
All right. Well, before we wrap this up, can you give our audience some information on where they can find information about your shows?
Oh, yeah. We've got notes.
Where, when, how?
Yes. So New Play Cafe presents Out to Lunch at Panera Bread for the 2017 Fringe Festival. You may purchase tickets for Fringe at the Fringe website, which is
fringe.org/tickets.
The Fringe Festival runs from June 22nd through July 2nd, 2017.
And Out to Lunch runs June 23rd through July 1st.
And I believe that the website for Fringe is actually sdfringe.org.
sdfringe.org/tickets. And more than likely, you'll be able to buy food with your ticket to New Play Cafe's Out to Lunch.
There you go. All right.
Playing a lunch.
I loved your facial expressions as you were saying that. You guys
went very NPR for me.
Yes, they did.
We listened to too much
and it
radio.
wasn't just like the voices. Their whole persona's changed, and he was holding his ear the whole thing.
Yeah, we're going to go have a nice vegetarian meal and
have a nice
save an animal.
Meal. Yes. And save an arts program for a small child somewhere. That's our next.
And talk really slowly.
Yeah. No.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. This was really enjoyable to sit and chat with you and laugh really hard.
Yeah. Well, thank
nice.
you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And it was nice to finally meet you in person. And
I know, right?
Yeah.
You've been friends on Facebook for what, like 4 years or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Wowie kazowie.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you guys in here. You're the first of like a series of theater people that we're
And the best.
Show, so. He's the narrator in his own story. I can tell.
He completely is.
And it's Morgan Freeman. Like Kevin Six walks down the street and he is taller than everyone.
Welcome to my life.
So
You don't want to know what I narrate at home.
stranger than fiction is your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
When people say you're thinking some strange things or your mind works in a strange way, I'm like, you should see it from this side. That's the.
And the man
can't
sat back from his microphone.
like his poor
A
beleaguered
smile and
wife.
a glum look on his face.
And the look on his wife's face was, you're doing the dishes when you get home.
Oh,
Make sure you guys
yes.
check them out. The whole thing, Out to Lunch. I love the title. Just because it means
It's going to be good. I mean, we're
means
not
so
done
much.
yet, but it's going to be good.
layered. It's just a layered title to begin with,
It's like a sandwich.
like an onion.
Yes.
Or a parfait.
So make sure you check it out. sdfringe.org/tickets.
Yes.
And I will try and make it out.
Do.
Yay. Please
I'm
do.
going to be out of town for part of the Fringe Festival, so
Well,
I have a lot of catching up to do.
I'll tell you you do know people that can probably get you in. I'm just saying. But here's the Fringe plug. Okay,
I heard that wink.
Yeah. Here's the Fringe plug. At least this was the price last year. You can buy like a 5-pack of tickets for like $40, which makes it like
it's totally
$8. It's so affordable. And the thing is that it's us, but also like a plethora of artists from around the world coming to San Diego. It's you'll see shows that you've never seen before in another language. It's
didn't I hear if you win your city, like they pay for you to take your play to a
to
a foreign country.
First Fringe. I think you can pick any Fringe, but most people pick to go to Scotland because that's like the Edinburgh's the big one.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. They do a really good job of like putting this all together. So you will not get bored. And if you do get bored, the show is only 55 minutes long. So you'll go on some minimal investment. So, but I've seen things every year. I'm like, oh, if the Italians are coming, I'm going. It doesn't even matter what theater company it is. If there's an Italian show, I'm in it because they're incredible performers and they do a lot of physical theater, which we don't see a lot here unless you go to Fringe.
Unless you write a monkey into your play.
Yes. Well, I did. So there's that. But there's a lot of aerial acts from San Diego, a lot of dance performance, but also just like a lot of unique opportunities like you're going to do.
I'm doing a Fringe play, which we'll hear more about whenever we have my cohort on the show, Lydia Real. She'll be joining us in a couple episodes. So we'll talk more about that. Today's your day to shine, guys.
Yay, shiny. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
guys. Great having you on.
Thank you.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.